Hello guys, so while we eagerly wait for the last two sets of matches of Nomadium 2, I bring you this video. It is something different than what you are used to seeing, but I hope you like it. So without further ado, let's jump into 10 weird facts about Rise of Nations. Weird fact number 1 is Iroquois ambush bug. So you gather your huge Iroquois army and you want to surprise your opponent with an ambush. However, your opponent reacts immediately and it was as if your ambush never worked in the first place. And that assumption would be totally correct. So there is the Iroquois nation power that allows their military units to be ambushed in friendly territory, and once Iroquois units leave friendly territory, their ambush ability is no longer active. Normally this should not break the ambush ability of the general, but it seems there was an oversight in the coding, and the part of the algorithm which removes Iroquois ambush outside friendly territory overrides the general's ambush ability as well, so it will never work. There is no documentation of this being an intentional feature, so I will assume this is a bug in the game. Weird fact number 2 is deleting units versus Aztecs will still give plunder. So you're facing Aztecs and want to avoid giving them plunder at all costs. You have your merchant or patriot being attacked by Aztec units, and there is little hope to escape, so you delete the unit not to give plunder. But then you watch the replay from the Aztec player's perspective and see that he still got the 100 gold for your captured patriot that you desperately wanted to avoid. Were you too slow, or how could this happen? Well, it seems there's an undocumented bonus for the Aztec plunder ability, which is, by my assumption, that the units that are under attack by Aztec military will give plunder regardless if they were killed or deleted by the controlling player. As far as I know, this does not apply to units that are not under attack. Number 3 is that Nubians and Ember does not stack. This one seems a bit arbitrary and it is not mentioned anywhere in the game by my knowledge. So basically, Nubians have the nation power that gives them plus 20 gold price for selling resources and minus 20 gold price for buying. The Ember Rare resource does the same thing, only with plus 10 and minus 10 respectively. You might assume that having Ember as Nubians would be a great combination, resulting in plus 30 for selling and minus 30 for buying resources, but for some reason this is not what happens. Maybe it's for balance reasons, we might never know for sure. Weird fact number 4 is that you can bribe enemies' unfinished building and finish it yourself. I guess most of you know about the bribing ability of spies and the senator. What you might not know is that you can bribe enemy buildings that ended up in your territory after the opponent started building them. What you most likely don't know is that if the building was unfinished at the time of the bribery, you can bring your own villagers to finish construction. This can end in some pretty funny results if the opponent is not careful, since losing an unfinished castle will always hurt, but giving it to the enemy for free is much worse deal. Number 5 on our list is knowledge can be plundered. So knowledge is a basic resource in the game, but it's different from all the others in many ways. It is unaffected by commerce cap, cannot be traded at the market or sent to allies as tribute. These attributes make knowledge one of the most crucial resources throughout the game, and for the most part it can only be collected steadily with scholars, universities, rare resources and wonders. Which means there is no way to get a big amount of knowledge suddenly, like it is possible with any other resource. The only way to get a knowledge bonus is by building a university, because it gives 25 knowledge as a one-time completion bonus. However, there is one way to get a huge boost of knowledge instantly, which is by destroying the Super Collider Wonder, because it gives 2000 knowledge as plunder. Keep in mind, using bomber planes or nukes will not give plunder on buildings, so you need to use ground forces. Destroying it in the despot's radius will give 4000 knowledge, although you should never still have a despot at this stage of the game. Number 6 on this list is Inca Refunds will almost never give exactly 25%. So what do I mean by that? Basically the description says that one of the incarnation powers is that they receive a 25% refund on all units that are killed by the enemy. A very strong bonus indeed, but it will almost never give exactly 25% because the amount of the refund is calculated by the current price of the unit, not the original price that you paid for. This means that the refund for your first cavalry unit will be higher than 25% if you build many more cavalry units after that, and the refund for your last and most expensive cavalry unit can go below 25% if the other cavalry units died before that, because the cost in the stables goes down. In theory, this can be abused by queuing up many units to receive a higher refund during a battle, but if you can manipulate the prices that much by queuing, then the resource management was far from optimal anyway, so this is not something we should be worried about, balance-wise. Weird fact number 7 is that the Persian capital bonus can be a disadvantage. So one of the Persian nation powers is that they have 2 capitals and both must be captured to receive plus 500 all resources and start the capital timer. It is a great bonus, making them much harder to eliminate from the game quickly, but it has a few downsides that were probably not intended by the game creators. In high-level games, it is pretty common to raise the own senate after researching the government, because it does not give any actual value after that, and being able to switch capital in case it's in danger of being captured gives a lot of room for survival. However, there is one special case, when if you are Persians and you lose the second capital to an enemy, you won't be able to build a senate after that, even if you raised it in the first capital. So this is one of those small oversights that will rarely affect the game, but it can be a bit annoying, because you cannot move your first capital or change government with a raised senate without recapturing the second capital. Another interesting behavior that this Persian bonus produces is that with the world government future technology researched, Persians can be eliminated instantly from the game just by capturing one of their 2 capitals. This is something we could witness in my 1 vs 4 toughest challenge video. Cities have a massive HP too. But now we have stealth bombers, and we can reduce the city a lot easier. Wait, what? What just happened? He had another capital. That was weird. Number 8 on the list is Lakota can build fort in non-assimilated cities. So to fully understand this one, let's clarify the types of territory in the game. From one perspective, a territory can be 1. Friendly, 2. Enemy, 3. Neutral, means not belonging to anyone, and 4. Waiting for assimilation after capturing a city. By default, most nations can only build on friendly territory. Lakota is an exception, and their description says that they can build on any terrain that does not belong to an enemy. So by this logic, Lakota should be able to build on number 1, 3 and 4. However, this is not exactly the case. It turns out, no nation can build anything on a territory that is waiting to be assimilated, even Lakota. There is only one exception to this. This is something that I read about online and didn't actually believe it until I tried. Lakota can build a castle right next to a city that is being assimilated. You cannot build any other military building though. Number 9 is sugar doesn't reduce certain library tax. So you plant your merchant on sugar, waiting for that sweet 10% full discount on the expensive commerce to research while in ancient age, but after your merchant is deployed, nothing happens. Sugar discount works normally for the first civic and military research, so what is going on here? Well, before classical age, the library researches that cost knowledge have to be assigned some different price since knowledge is not available in the ancient age. The developers decided to replace knowledge cost with food and adding a 1.5 multiplier to it, but most likely forgot to account sugar's 10% discount for these researches, so these researches will not receive any discount on the food cost using sugar. And finally, number 10 on our list is the Japanese samurai is not such a great unique unit. Basically, the Japanese heavy infantry are feared among many players. They have better stats all across the board. They even have bonus damage versus buildings, so they are excellent for rushing strategies. Their samurai in Age 4 are a little different than the other 3 Japanese heavy infantry though. They have a hidden ability which makes them attack twice as fast compared to the elite pikemen. To balance this out, the devs reduced their damage output by about 50%. In theory, this sounds like a good balance, but in reality, this can result in the samurai being much less effective than the elite pikemen that they replace. The cause for this is the way armor works in the game. So the armor of a unit simply subtracts the amount of damage that they receive from the attacker. So if we take a closer look, the elite pikeman deals about 27 damage with 1 attack sequence to a heavy knight. The samurai performs 2 attack sequences in the same amount of time, resulting in about 29 damage. So far so good, right? Now let's do a test against a heavy knight with a monarch nearby and operations upgrade researched. This results in 5+8 armor for the heavy knight, and the elite pikeman does about 18.5 damage. The math seems to check out. The knight receives 8 less damage due to the armor, and the 0.5 difference is likely due to rounding that we do not see. After that, we see that the samurai does 6 damage with every attack, compared to the 14.5 damage that they dealt before. So even by attacking 2 times as fast, the samurai only deals 12 damage to the heavy knight, compared to the elite pikeman's 18.5. This seems to make the samurai a questionable upgrade, because it is pretty realistic to have 5+8 armor knights in Gunpowder Age, but 5+6 armor is expected in the list, so it is pretty easy to calculate that even in that case, the samurai would perform worse. Since the elite bushi from the medieval age does not have this faster attack rate coupled with reduced damage, they outperform the Gunpowder Age upgrade in this test, and this puts the samurai on the race for the worst unique unit in the game. So that was 10 weird facts about Rise of Nations. Hope you liked the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, comment, all that stuff. Don't forget to tune in for the third place match that is supposed to be cast this weekend, and of course for the grand finals that will most likely be cast on the following weekend. See you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.